Alejandra de la Cerda, and my topic for my final project is on the down low phenomena among Black men. Let me begin by describing the history of this down low phenomenon. The down low is an African American slang, a term that is typically referred to as a subculture of Black men who usually identify themselves as heterosexual but who have sex with men. Some avoid sharing this information even if they have sexual partners, they are married, or they're single. Down low has been viewed as a type of impression management that some of the informants use to present themselves in a manner that is consistent with the perceived norms about masculine attributes, attitudes, and behaviors. In my first source, Black Men Who Have Sex with Men and the Association of Down Low Identity with the HIV Risk Behavior, I found that Black men on the down low have been considered prime agents of HIV transmission in the Black community. The extent to which the down low is associated with HIV risk behavior has never been quantitatively examined among a large sample of Black men who have sex with men, also known as MSM. Men were enrolled from May 2005 to April 2006 in Philadelphia, Los Angeles, and New York. Candidates had to be male and identify to be 18 years or older, self-identified as Black, African American, or Latino, and report sexual intercourse, either oral, anal sex, or mutual masturbation, with a man in the past 12 months. Identification with the down low was assessed by the question, do you identify any of the following terms? Same gender loving on the down low or none. Men who checked on the down low were categorized as identifying with the down low. All other men were categorized as do not identify with the down low. As a result, 1/3 of participants, 31% to be exact, identify with the term on the down low. Down low MSM were more likely than were non-down low MSM to report their sexual identity as bisexual and to report that this was very important to keep their same-sex behaviors a secret. 1/4 of the down low MSM also reported a gay sexual identity, and 11.1% reported being straight or heterosexual. As for source number 2, the down low, social stigma, and risky behaviors, insights from African American men who have sex with men, indicate the down low is purported to contribute to social stigma associated with being homosexual and may influence risk behaviors. This article examines communication patterns among stigmatized groups and reports the findings from 32 structured interviews, 5 focus groups with African American men who have sex with men. Evidence indicates that the prevalence of this phenomenon is higher among Black and Hispanic men and on the down low, and has been implicated in the inconsistent condom use and elevated rates of HIV prevalence in these populations. Stigmatization is one form of social sanction. Stigma is a complex social force that serves as a tool to marginalize groups of people perceived to act outside of social norms, such as homosexuals, injected drug users, and commercial sex workers, or who have afflicted with some condition, people with mental illness, or those who have HIV or AIDS. The study found that the down low men were more likely to be behaviorally bisexual than men not on the DL. DL MSM were more than 10 times as likely as non-DL MSM to report having had a female sexual partner in the previous 6 months. Participants also reported different psychological conditions that men on the DL might exhibit, including self-deception, denial, other deception, and yielding to normative conformity pressures. Moreover, these participants perceive their sexual orientation and sexual activities to be a largely private endeavor. Thus, these data provide a glimpse into the ways in which social stigma, or fear of it, impacts communication about the health information and information-seeking behaviors among African American, who have sex with men, including those on the down low. For source number 3, it is on bisexually active black men in the United States and HIV, acknowledging more than the down low. HIV is disproportionately impacting black men who have sex with men and heterosexual women in the United States. In the United States, black Americans comprise over half of the current HIV cases, despite only representing 13% of the entire US population. A study recent reported a 46% HIV prevalence among black men who have sex with men in 5 major metropolitan cities. And approximately half of the HIV...
It's 9 o'clock.
Excuse me for that. Half of the HIV/AIDS cases among black men are related to male sexual behavior, according to Centers of Disease Control and Prevention. A recent multi-city study of sexual risk behavior among 455 MSM, 150 black, 150 Hispanic, and 152 white attempted to assess differences among DL identified and non-DL identified men. More than 1/3 of both DL and non-DL identified MSM reported recent unprotected reception anal intercourse with a male partner. The entire sample reported currently having a main female partner, and 52% were non-down low identified men. It is time for the collective public health and sexuality research communities to acknowledge and address the complex social context and lives of bisexually active men in a constructive and non-sensationalistic manner that goes beyond the phrase down low. Source number 4, Beyond the Down Low, Sexual Risk Protection and Disclosure Among At-Risk Black Men Who Have Sex with Both Men and Women, described that recent research suggests that black men who have sex with men and women are at relatively high risk of HIV transmission. Participants reported protecting themselves with their partner through routine HIV testings, using condoms consistently, and engaging in strategic positioning during sexual activity, and limiting the number of sexual partners. But, in addition, described several reasons for not using protection, including not having condoms available, enjoying sexual activities more without condoms, and perceiving female partners to be safer than male partners. This study is based on a sample of 30 at-risk black men who have sex with both men and women in New York City. In order to ensure the risk of prevalence, we've limited our focus to men between the ages of 18 through 30 and who engage in sexual activity with at least one male and at least one female in the past year, and who have reported inconsistent use of condoms within this time frame. In terms of these factors, they may have to put the men at increased sexual risk during the previous years. A third of the participants, and exactly 30% reported that they specifically were at risk because they were bisexually active. That is, participants specifically identified that simultaneous sexual activity with both male and female partners increased the risk of becoming infected with HIV. Moreover, interventions should begin to educate women and men on HIV from male partners, any of which could be sexually active, according to the Centers of Disease Control and Prevention, rather than placing the burden of protected upon men who have sex with both men and women alone. As for my 5th and final source on maintaining a heterosexual identity, sexual meanings among the sample of heterosexually identified men who have sex with men, it shows that this study employed qualitative methods to better understand the maintenance of heterosexual identity in the face of sexual behaviors. Participants transferred responsibility for their same-sex sexual activities by blaming external factors such as fighting with their wife, substance use, for the sexual encounters. As heterosexually identified men, many were embedded in gay culture and consciously rejected it. A participant named Sam stated, "I didn't know what bathhouses was until somebody told me. What is it? A house you're going to take a bath in or something?" Gay bathhouses are steam rooms becoming widely popular since the 1980s. A gay bathhouse is a spa or facility for men to meet other men. These participants felt that they should be able to control their sexual encounters and felt a deep sense of remorse following these interactions. What I found most interesting was the most salient findings as the Universal reports the participants that had no emotional connection was made to their male sexual partners. Despite these limitations, these findings are useful for understanding the participants' interpretation of their sexual behaviors and give a voice to this hidden population. Why does this matter? Men who have sex with both men and women are a significant bridge of HIV to women, as Centers of Disease Control and Prevention study suggested. 1 in 10 men reporting sex with men also have sex with women, and then 1 in 4 of those bisexual men have unsafe sex with both kinds of partners. Men who also have sex with women have similar levels of HIV and STDs as homosexual men and higher levels of many risky behaviors. It is important because when bisexual men have unsafe sex with both kinds of partners, both sets of partners are at high risk of catching HIV or an STD. Who is affected and where things currently stand? Researchers at Public Management published a study in American Journal of Public Health showing that Black men who have sex with men and women identify themselves on the down low engage in the same level of risk with women as behaviorally bisexual men who do not identify themselves as down low. Funded by the Centers of Disease Control and Prevention, this study is the largest kind to investigate the link between the down low and HIV prevention. How is this issue being discussed on news and integrated media? Popular media have portrayed this topic more widely in more recent years and generally focus on African Americans. 2 popular television shows, Law and Order, Special Victims Unite, and Girlfriends, have dedicated episodes centering heterosexual African American women partnered with an African American man on the down low. The popular television film Cover features an African American woman who learns her husband secretly has an affair with another man. Black feminist thought provides an intersection frame for analyzing the content of these portrayals of Black women in relationships with men on the down low. Further, they show newer interpretations of African American women in love and in trouble that African American men often have to disguise and remain silent about their sexuality to garner acceptance into their communities. Pros and cons about this topic. I want to share this video of these 2 gay Black men sharing their thoughts about being part of the down low community. I must admit that this video does show more of its cons and some of what they go through, but if I were to point out the only pros that this phenomenon has is that this black men have this hidden identity and can continue to keep it a secret. But I will be linking this video down below just in case anybody is curious enough to watch it. But it's a really good video and I strongly encourage you guys to watch it just so you guys can get a better understanding of what they go through. Given the evidence, what would I think the best solution or policy may be? What factors guided my decision? I believe the best solution for these men is to stay true to themselves and to be honest about the type of guy they are. A guy who enjoys to have sex with men. It may be the best option because internal stigmatization is not good for the health, and it would be better to live freely than to hide that about oneself. Black men with the struggle of being black have the struggle of being black, and on top of that have the struggle of being a Black gay man. It may be easier said than done, but I am sure they won't regret that feeling of relief as soon as they've decided to do so. And my resources, and that concludes my presentation on the down low phenomenon. Thank you so much for listening and have a good summer, guys.